Hey everybody, Barry here again. It's cladding day. I'm going to try to get whatever I can done by the end of this video. It's not going to be complete, it's not going to look like an Escalade, but I will have a better idea of what I have to do to get it cladded up by the end of this video. A little bit of modification here, a little bit of cutting there probably. I did do this once with all the white cladding from the Escalade. Now I've got to sort of new and improve what I'm going to do with the black Escalade cladding. If you were around the last time I did this with the white, you'll know that I cut it right pretty much down here, and you see where it tapers in right here. I brought this piece over and hooked it onto the passenger side over there, or the driver's side, sorry. And I did the same thing to the opposite side piece. You'll see that here now. Nope, that's the piece for the passenger side. So you can see here's the taper. And that came about right here, which actually looks pretty good. I actually really like the way that looked. It matches up with the body lines. It doesn't completely cover the cab corner down here, but it does well enough. Now I'm not going to touch this piece today, mainly because this truck needs cab corners. You can see that they're all beat up. It was rusty. It was covered in with probably roofing cement and sheet metal from a shelf, and they need to be replaced along with the rockers. They're obviously not so hot. But that doesn't stop me from putting this piece on. Look at that. Dude, that's great. And this is going to be a few day job here. Obviously, it's not a small job, so I'm going to tackle it one trim piece at a time. What else can I do? You know, what else am I going to do? I can't just start and finish all this in one day. I'd never have enough time. On the back piece here, we're going to have similar wheelbase issues. The Escalade was 2 inches shorter on the wheelbase, and I think the overall length was quite a bit shorter also if you look at this piece of cladding here. You can see that it matches up fine with the wheel well. That's not an issue whatsoever, and it actually matches really well with the front, but we're a few inches short on the back here. And what I did to combat that on this white piece here, this was a really, really good test piece. Look at that. I just kind of cut it off, stuck it up in place. I left the back off of it and had a look, and man, it looks like it's going to work really, really well. It's perfect. So now I can do that with the black. And when I get the tail light section done, then I can work on the back here. That's this piece. Look at that. When I get it in, let's jam that in there real quick. There we go. That's half an idea anyway. When I get it in place, that's what it's going to look like. And just to show you what kind of gap we're dealing with, I mean, it's not horrible. It's really not horrible at all. But I do have to fill a gap. So that's where this white trim is going to come in. A little bit of imagination here, of course, but I'm going to split the black. Put the piece on, put the back piece on. And because the white is the exact same shape, I just got to cut a strip out of the white here, craft it in, do however I'm going to do that to join them. Then I'll just paint it black. Easy as pie. On paper. There's a lot of tape left on this, so you can see, of course, that I'm using this very aggressive razor blade. And I'm just kind of shimming along here, just shaving that double-sided sticky tape off. GM definitely used enough. So I'm just getting off what I can. I'll use a little bit of adhesive remover or whatever to really take off the end piece there. And obviously I will stick it all back on again. And very carefully stick it in place. I'm just going to give this a 10-second sand and throw some rust paint on it so that it doesn't continue to rust in under the fender flares, as GM trucks definitely do. I got all the tape removed. You can see that there's a lot of it. I'm going to go take some adhesive remover, maybe a little bit of acetone on the side of the bed there, and stick all that on. There's not going to be much time lapse today because I broke my tripod mount, and I don't want to drop this phone and break it like I did to the last one. I'm just going to do a real quick mock-up here. Make sure that everything sits where it's supposed to. I've got a trim sat up against the bed. Same here to make sure they line up, and they do. Sorry about the noise. There's probably going to be a bit of it. So I'm just going to take my old paint marker here and run it right along the edge of the bed. Right down here, same thing. So it's not straight actually. If it were straight, this distance and this distance here would be the same, but they're probably an inch off. I'm just going to check my white piece here. It's off quite a ways too. Here, hey. So I'd have to fill that in also. Not a huge deal. Maybe I could take another piece off the other trim. Maybe I should mark it at the front so that I know my cab corner is straight. That'd be better. You know, I just had a thought, and I already have this piece. Obviously it's white, but we'll address that later. It's there. It's a touch too long, which is fine because I can make it just a little bit shorter. Not a big deal. I already have that for the cab corner. And if I just cut it off, this piece, just an example, if I just cut it off, it's going to look like that. Big old horrendous gap that I have to try to fill in. So why shouldn't I, back here somewhere, go straight down, and cut out a chunk and just shorten it up so that I've got my wheel well back here, and then I've got a nice tapered section right there. I think that would look good. That way the taper from the cab corner would match the taper from the bedside. I think it would work. Then between the bed and the cab corner would just kind of look like that. Everything would kind of flow in together. It's got the same profile there. Oh, I think I like that. Normal people come out with plans. I just work as I go. Problem solving on the move. It's pretty crazy when you're brainstorming while doing the job. I don't think normal people do that. But then again, I'm not normal people. So let's go right here. Same line anyway. And that line there. Now I can just measure this distance and chop it out from like right here. So what I'm going to do, because the bed comes down on like a forward angle, I'm going to cut out the measurement of the shortest section down here. Say this here is probably 4 or 4.5 inches. I'll remove that much. That way, if I do have to remove more, I can just take another strip rather than possibly overshooting it here at like this, say, 5-inch section. This green tape is the best stuff in the world. It doesn't flex very easily, so you usually get a relatively straight line. And I just put the square up here on the body line and then squared up the tape with that. So here on the outside edge is my cut line. I'm pretty much in the middle, so there's no risk of cutting it on an angle here. And the radius doesn't taper in until it gets to, like, say, here somewhere. So I don't have to worry about the two radius edges not lining up to plastic weld. Right here, we've got 4, and if we go on this side of the line, we got 4 3/4. So I'm just going to go 4.5. That way, like I said, I can trim off some excess if I need to. Okay, outside to outside, we have 4.5 inches. 4.5 inches. So our divider line in here, I'll say divider line, this hollow space in there, looks like it's just about perfectly spaced. So that means our piece is going to come up and flush up there real nice. It's not going to be off on any crazy angles or anything. And that's the section I need to remove. You know, I almost think this, it may not be quite enough to go back here. But if it is, that would be sweet, because I could just plastic weld in that full section and not have to worry about like filling a gap or whatever. Well, that looks a lot different. Neat. Let's try it out. Let's see how it looks. It may require some trimming, of course. I'm sure it's going to be kind of a pain to line up all the body lines and everything. Okay, so down here lines up pretty well. Up top, I've got about 1 inch left that I need to trim off, and that's going to come pretty close into that, which is not going to work. What happens if I move it back? So if I moved it back right to here, then I'd have to fill in this down here, which is really not that big of a deal, because a little bit of body filler would go a long way there. A little body filler will go a long way. And it's not going to be stuck off like this. It's going to be down there flat. I think that would work. I think that would work just fine. Too long, am I? Right there. And I can't cut it on a taper so that it tips back and lines up, because then my body line wouldn't be correct. And then move it back just a little bit past the line. I've got lots of marks on my cladding here, but that really doesn't matter that much. So if we look down here, I'm about 1 1/8 inches or so too long, which really is not a big deal. I'll just cut that strip out of here and we're good to go. Let's try it again. I got the strip cut off. Let's see. Oh, well, that's a lot better, isn't it? That is a lot better. We're right on the very edge right here, and I'm fine with that. And of course, you can see that it kind of tips down here. That's just fine. Like I said, I'll fill it, not a big deal. And I can make that radius basically the exact same up here, like right here. This is great. Now I need to join these, and Joey said I can use this plastic welder. Just got to get that off of him, probably today. Awesome. Well, now that I know that this will work for this side, I can go and duplicate it on the other side. You may notice that my tape line moved before I cut this piece here, and that's because I had it taped up here further, where there's like a higher taper right here, so I moved my tape line over to the other side and just cut it here. Look how much longer that is. Big difference. It's about 5.5 inches, because I cut 4.5 off the first time, and then I cut off about 1 inch, maybe 1 1/8 inches. If I can make that seam work, I think it's going to look great. And from right where it is there, there's not much of a gap. There is a little bit, because you can see that this is not very clean here yet. I got to cut off all this little extra stuff here. And then it should butt together very nicely. And in any imperfections, I'll just put a little bit of filler on anyway. Ready to cut. A little bit of taping, not a big deal. It actually was right on 5.5 inches, so I'm going to slice it up. I know I'm going to do one piece at a time, but I don't have a plastic welder right now, so I don't want to waste any time this morning. I'm just going to cut more up. And maybe I'll even start on the back. Plus, I still got to do a 10-second sand and paint on this side. Okay, now for the back. I'm going to cut it at pretty much the same place as I have this one done, because I did do a lot of thinking before I cut that one. You can see right here that there's two mounting points, here and here, and both of those will bolt up to the quarter panel. That's rated on there right here. Now, it may not be perfect. I might have to make a couple spacers. It might not line up exactly perfect right away, but it's two mounting points. So I cut directly between those, because it's no good for me to cut here and not have a way to mount this to the bed. So that seemed to be the best option. So I'm going to go and duplicate that one. And like I said before, as far as I know, everything here is all parallel and symmetrical, so I can just cut out a nice chunk of that. If I need to fill down here somewhere. This may not be pretty right away, but hey, at least I'll have it all together. I got to come up with a plan for cutting out that quarter for the Escalade taillights. I really don't like how this looks. It's going to be in further. That's not a big deal. It's going to be flush probably right here with the taillight, but everything out here just sticks out and looks disgusting. I don't like it at all. So I'm going to change it. I'm going to cut the back out of a perfectly good bed and weld in an Escalade taillight. Anyway, back on task. Let's just slice this off, and then maybe I'll start sanding it. You'll have to ignore the tape, but look. That taper going together actually looks pretty cool. Up against the bed, up against the cab. That looks good. Join there looks fine. Up over the wheel well is good. I'm gonna go cut this one up now so I can lay it up against and have a look at that too. Well, here's my tape line. What I did was went square here with my square, couple dots, and I touched my tape down here first, made sure it was lined up with both these, and then pushed it out flat so the tape doesn't do anything crazy. Same thing here. I pushed the tape down over the profile, down into this dip here, and I just allowed the tape to go where it wanted. That way, when I cut out the other piece that I need to join in, it can do the same thing, and hopefully I'll end up with pretty much the same profile down here and all that kind of thing. I know it's not going to be perfectly straight as if I cut it with a chop saw, but it should work okay. That's way too cool. Oh, that is perfect. Great. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of tape job on this just to stand back and see what it looks like. Just to get a look at it. Wow. I don't hate it at all. I don't hate it one bit. How do you guys feel about this 0.5 zoom thing? Like, look, this is the regular zoom here, and then we go 0.5 and we can see a whole field. It's got a little bit of a fisheye thing going on there, but man, it looks cool. When it's all the same color, I think it'll even be better. Look at that. I should actually check my ride height now, because every time that I've been checking my ride height, it's been to the bottom of that fender flare there, and I've been checking it to the bed, which is going to be, of course, higher, because the fender flare, I can fit my fingers between the fender flare and the bed because of these mounting points right here. Just see. Okay, and up front we have 32.5, and out back we have 33.25. So we're up about 3/4 of an inch in the back. I don't hate that at all. 3/4 of an inch is not too big of a rake. I may lower it down to dead level, but then the minute I put something in the back, it'll be like a ram with more than luggage in the back. Yeah, I really like it. I think after everything is the same color, after the entire truck is black, along with the black cladding, I think that's going to be a major difference. I got a thing! Well, it's not my thing. Joey lent it to me. It is a plastic welder. Look at this thing. This is the first time I've seen what's in here. Like, look at this. All kinds of crazy stuff. Polyethylene, polypropylene. Yep, those are all words. Polyurethane. Brush. Look, man. There's so... Oh, this is way out of my range of comfort. And, oh, little weldy things. Whatever that is. Oh, that's a knife. I got that down. Yeah. All kinds of cool stuff. So I got to learn how to use this because, I'm sure as you can tell, I've never used one before. All kinds of different tips. I don't think he has used it very much. I think he used that. I'm going to go read the instructions, maybe watch a video, and then I'll try it out. What I can gather from the instruction manual, this is a Worth machine. I don't know, man. I've seen that on an awful lot of Amazon packages. Look at Amazon buying Worth instruction manuals. Yeah, so I'm just going to do that. This doesn't focus well, does it? I'm just going to do that. Here's the little weldy things. The little zigzag ones like that. Put it in. Pull the trigger. Weld. Man, I really, really need to get my tripod fixed so I can put this together on film so you guys can make fun of me while I mess it up. I gotta go back old school and like put a battery on the counter and stack a tire or something up next to it so I can stand my phone up. Alright, I figured it out. I got a spray can laid on the vise and my phone leaned up against the spray can. This is like OG Station Road rat rods here today. Oh, we got light. Oh, that's hot already. Can you see that? I'm terrified. I am absolutely terrified. How is this going to work? So, wow. I did not expect that to work so fast. Wow. Alright. So I gotta make sure it stays flat. That's the key thing. Even if there is a gap, like I have to resist the urge to just jam it together. That urge is always present. Try to line it up like perfectly. Wow. Oh no. I should have let it cool down. Oh, come on. It was working so well. I don't want to touch it. I'm sure. Okay, so basically, it works extremely well. Is it hot? Oh, well, it's not bad actually. Let's try that again. Try that again. That was cool. I'm gonna let it sit there. Didn't melt through, so that's cool. I am extremely unhandy. Okay, they stayed together. That's a good sign. Finally, nice work. Oh, there's a different one. Has more zigzags in it. But they're all stuck together, see? Okay. This one has many zigzags in it. Don't burn me. if I had to guess, I assume we're just grounding out this thing. Like putting a wrench across battery terminals and watching it get hot or explode in your face. Oh, is it? Don't burn me. I don't mind if I have to fill a gap with some filler because I got a body working anyway. That is so cool. Look at that, man. Look how cool that looks. This one has less zigzags. That one has very many zigzags. That's good. I like it. I think I like this one a lot better. It's like it's got more surface area gluing together. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. If we look from here, got a straight line going up there. And it's like, I can kind of make it level here. It's difficult with one hand, but I'll make it straight and level across there. And we're in good shape. It looks like it's actually already holding, like, look. So that's something. If I can put probably 15 of those across there, it should be quite rigid. I'm going to go time-lapse this for a little bit now that I got my tripod set up. This is so cool. I got them every inch and a half, inch or so. They all have little tails hanging off them. I clipped them off with what I assume is the wire clipper. Right here, I got a little bit of a tail, but I think that might be okay because double-sided sticky tape is relatively thick. It's got a gap, again. I really don't care that much. But dude, it's a piece. Look at that. And it's complete. And not bad at all. Oh, I like it a lot. I think I'll go do the other side now. Can you imagine if I cut off the wrong side? Plastic welded the wrong side on there. Not fun. Here is the other side. Exact same setup, just got to clean it up and probably get rid of some of this tape here, but yeah. Dude, this is ridiculously simple to use. Pull trigger, don't burn yourself, melt. Beat that. Well, I went ahead and messed around and just clipped one on there for a short, and this is surprisingly, very surprisingly strong. Gonna go and do the same thing, I suppose. I really should have torn all this off before I joined it, but I get ahead of myself. So we'll do it after. Not a big deal. I'm just gonna go ahead now and melt the rest of these pieces in, I suppose. I updated my tripod mount. I just gotta print it tomorrow, and then hopefully I'll have it for the next video. I got my tripod back. Look at that. I 3D printed this bracket. It fits my phone really well. I actually designed this bracket, which is something that I've learned over the last little while, is how to use CAD and getting used to FreeCAD and Fusion. And I designed this thing. And I got it all printed up and it looks decent, and I left slots out here so that the noise can get through, and it just kind of goes like this. And there we go. Now we're on the tripod. Super cool, man. I've just been working on getting all this old glue off. I don't need this specific piece right now, but it's my lunch break and, well, it's got to be done anyway, so I'm just scraping at it a little bit at a time. Cut off little tiny bits of tape at a time until I'm done. So here's the piece that I joined. I'd kind of like to try plastic welding this, but I don't know what material this is. Like, is it ABS? Is it
polyethylene? Is it, you know, what is it? Because as we saw earlier in the video, we've got ABS, polycarbonate, nylon, polypropylene, polyethylene, polyurethane. Like, which one do I use to securely weld this together? So I think I'm just going to skip that step for now. I posted a short and asked how far apart my little squigglies should be. And somebody said it should be about 2 centimeters apart, which I'm, you know, I'm 1.25 inches here, so it's not like terrible. It absolutely could be better. So I think I'll put one in maybe down here, because you can tell, you can see right here that there's a piece on top of this rib, but there's nothing in under it down here. So it's this far apart on the surface itself. Maybe I'll put one in right here. Maybe I'll go up here further, and definitely put one in down here. As for filling this in, again, I don't know, it's not going to be in this video, but I think after I get this all secured to the side of the truck, I think then I'll go in and bodywork this with some, maybe some short strand fiberglass to fill it, and then do Bondo over top, and I'll paint the whole piece. I know it's going to make it hard to blend, so I'm not even going to bother trying to blend it. I'll just alcohol wipe it and paint the entire piece. And then I'll go around and paint every piece on the truck. I'm going to go give this a 10-second sand, just on time lapse here, and throw some black paint on it, and probably sand off that 4x4 sticker there too, because it ain't that. And then we'll get ready and stick some cladding on.
There we go. Here we go. It's sanded down. It's absolutely not perfect, and I'm not going to hide it from you.
I just need to get some final wipe on there now, clean it off, and then kind of spray it black all up around it. I just don't want that to continue rusting. And I'll paint above where the line is going to be anyway. That way, when I go to paint the rest of the truck black, I just have to spray down to the line where it is. It's not that big of a deal. This is not going to be perfect. It's not going to look amazing. It's not going to be the best Chev truck you've ever looked at. But it will be black, and it'll have cladding on it.
What I'm going to be using is Fusion. Gloss black. Can't get much simpler than that. Fusion is awesome. You could paint water with this stuff.
No, don't run out now. I'm almost done. Well, it's almost black.
I literally did no prep, besides I wiped down half the panel with Final Wipe. And it's funny because it looks half okay. I mean, if that thing buzzed by you at 100, it'd just be a black Silverado. No question about it.
I think I'm gonna leave it for here. I have accomplished things. Yeah, I did accomplish things. I cut that piece.
So until I get those tail lights done, I'm all done for today. How do you feel about the cladding so far? How do you feel about the stitching that I did, putting it together, painting the bedside on the truck just to make it black, and all the other shenanigans I get into on a regular basis? I can't wait to have something figured out with these tail lights. I think I have half an idea of how I could modify the rear cladding to work with these Silverado tail lights, but I'd really like to take a stab at welding in the sections for the Escalade. That's going to be a big video. So look forward to that. I'm all done for today, so thanks for checking out the channel. Thanks my YouTube members, patrons, and subscribers. If you want to check out my Patreon, it's patreon.com/stationroadratrods. YouTube members link is down here. And thanks for watching. Have a great day, everybody.